Welcome, UC Bearcat fans, to UC Bearcats on Prowl, part of the Grueling Truth Radio Network. As always, I'm James Ernest, along with my co-host, Mark Fightmaster. Mark, what have the Bearcats been up to?
Well, not so fast, James. Before the Bearcats, we got to throw out a congratulations to your Northern Kentucky Norse, making the big dance in their first year of eligibility. I think that's awesome.
That is true. That is huge for the university. It's going to really just help the process in general, getting the bigger attendance and the better crowds and the better recruits, and just kind of build from there. Plus, the nice thing is, of course, Northern being roommates next season with UC. So, yeah, all kinds of good stuff going on.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I think as you can all say that we can't stand Xavier, and as Xavier fans will tell you they can't stand UC, but I think the way the little team from Northern Kentucky's captured everybody's hearts here in Cincinnati, I think we can all say we're fans of Northern,
Exactly.
And I think it's going to be great that they can sit there and wait to see their name come up on the big board on Sunday to see who they're playing. And I saw one projection, projections are projections, but I saw one, and the seating committee has a sense of humor. I saw one projection that has them playing Kentucky in the first round.
That was the two projections I've seen. I've seen Kentucky or Louisville, because both of them are 2 seeds, and they're figuring NKU is going to be the 15 seed. To be honest with you, I wouldn't mind us being a 16 seed and doing a playing game up in Dayton.
Yeah, that would be cool too. That would be really cool. Get them a game up there, real close. What, an hour away. So if that, I think that would be awesome. So I just wanted to throw out some props to one of the other teams here in the city. I think what they've done there and what Coach Brandon has done is awesome.
Yeah, because the ability to travel up there would be nice. Then they can win a first-round game and progress from there. Give them something to build on, because no offense, if they're playing UK or they're playing Louisville, oh, gosh, that's not an optimistic thought.
Hey, but you know what? They made it. So there's a lot of other teams that can't say that. So that's great for them.
Unfortunately, the tournament also fell the right way. The nice thing is, that all the other higher seeds, the first 3 seeds, fell out in the first round, which was just baffling. So UC kind of got a similar situation. UC's a number 2 seed. So they've got some concerns they got to watch out for.
Yeah, the first round game, I think it'll be Friday, if I remember correctly, and it'll be against the winner of Tulsa-Tulane, which is fine, for the Bearcats. I honestly see this, I'm not going to sit here and predict a tournament win for them. I'd like to see them win a couple games, as well as they've been playing, minus the Central Florida thing. Actually, that brings up my concern. They have not been playing well away from the shoe, or Fifth Third Arena, or whatever we call it nowadays. So hopefully they can string together a few wins in Connecticut and go from there, gain some momentum for the big tournament.
I agree with you. That is huge, because like you said, away from the Fifth Third, it's been rough. Especially that game. That still bugs us. I know it was only 4 points, but shouldn't have lost to them. And on the bright side, you mentioned it's going to be up in UConn. Well, the good news is we do play well in Connecticut. Recently, this season, because I was going to say in the past seasons, obviously it's been a lot rougher. Fortunately, this season we won by 20 up there, so some optimism going into it.
Yeah, and that was a good game for the Cats up there. As bad as they looked against Central Florida, they looked good against Connecticut. And I don't want to undersell Central Florida. They are the top-rated defensive team in the country. So, there's going to be some struggles. And what happened is it looked like Gary Clark and Kyle Washington were afraid to go at Taco Fall, all 7 foot plus of him. And then they had to really rely on things from outside, and the shots weren't falling. So, hopefully that was just a one-time issue, but, they haven't played well away from home, and so there are some concerns.
And the nice thing is, unlike Northern, UC is going to be in no matter what at this point. Hopefully they hopefully they win, the tournament. But even if they don't, even if they go out in the first round, the worst case scenario, they're going to drop down to a 6th seed maybe. Where if they win it, maybe they'll get back up to like a 3rd or 4th seed. Where if they wouldn't have had dumb losses like the UCF game, they might have even made a 2nd seed.
Right. I saw one projection that as of right now, without the AAC tournament, they were a 5 seed playing. I think they might have been playing like Monmouth or someone like that as a number 12 seed. And then the 4 seed waiting for them was Virginia, depending on if they got past whoever they were playing. I would like to think if they could go out and win the AAC tournament, beat SMU a second time in 3 games, that it could bump them up to that 4 seed.
That would be nice.
And I mean, it's the tournament. It's the big dance. Nothing's easy. But it would be nice to see them. I hate those 5-12 games, so I'd like to see them with a 4 seed and go from there and see what happens.
And the thing about it is, like you mentioned in that scenario where it was Virginia, we'd end up playing. Virginia is a lot like UCF, where their defense is phenomenal. They just don't have that consistent offense of force.
Right.
Either one of those teams. So if their offensive players step it up, it could be a really tough game for UC.
Exactly. And we'll get into it more once the brackets are announced. But UC, they got to keep that offense firing, man. I mean, Jacob Evans to me is the key for the offense. Troy Copain, yes, he runs the offense. But we need Jacob Evans hitting on all cylinders.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's almost impossible for them to lose. I mean, between him and Kevin Johnson and Troy, if the 3 of them are doing their thing, I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and which brings me to another point that's kind of off the beaten path here, but the AAC all-conference team was announced. I don't know if you saw that. There was not a single Bearcat on the first team.
That is surprising.
Well, yeah, and Mick was asked about it, and quite honestly, I loved his candor here. He said it doesn't surprise him because most of the coaches just look at the top 5 scorers and put them down.
Exactly.
And UC doesn't have one of the top 5 scorers in the conference. Now, the one award that I did like was Jaron Cumberland. I believe he was the newcomer of the year or the rookie of the year, or whatever they call it in the conference. That kid deserves it, as long as he can make curfew and not have to sit out a game. He's a weapon off the bench that UC hasn't had in the past. So I think he's going to help out a lot during this AAC tournament, and I don't think we can discount the importance of Justin Jennifer, and actually I can't believe I'm saying this, Quadri Moore, as we go into this tournament. We need those guys doing the best they can to help us get through, because it could be 3 games in 3 days, so they're going to need to rely on their bench a little bit.
I know what you mean, yeah, but they can be the players that they are, that depth that would give UC, that, like you said, then they wouldn't have to rely on the starters just constantly, getting wore down before the tournament. I know what you mean.
Exactly. And I think, who was I listening to? I think it was an interview with Pat Kelsey from Winthrop, the Winthrop coach on local radio. And he was talking about, they've got like a 2-week break now before the tournament because they clinched early by winning their tournament. And he said he would almost rather have a couple games in that time just to keep his guys, in basketball mode instead of just beating each other up in practice. So maybe it can work to UC's advantage. We'll see, because they do have decent depth.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to, like you said, you don't want to go, cold. You don't want to, just be beating up on yourselves in basically a second preseason. But you don't want to run yourself in the ground either. That's why I don't think the coaches get too mad when they know they're in the tournament if they don't win the conference tournament.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point there, because there's something about being well rested going into the big dance, and maybe not well rested per se, but at least having a few days off and being able to get your legs back under you. So we'll see what happens. I'm thinking that just for a prediction, I expect UC to make it to the final game. I mean, shoot, they're the number 2 seed, the only team in the conference other than the one UCF game that gave them trouble was obviously SMU. Hopefully we'll get a rematch because I'd like to see that game again.
I agree with you 100%. Give them a neutral site, give them an opportunity to show what they can do, and should be good things.
Yep.
And then, of course, switching over to the women's team, unfortunately, I believe they lost already out of the tournament. Which stinks. They ended up losing to UConn. Or not UConn. They ended up losing it to Houston. So that's unfortunate. Maybe there's still a chance that they'll end up making, CBI or CIT or one of those type of things. And there was a lot of improvement this year. So, I mean, that can't go without being said that, Coach has done a great job for them. They got them going in the right direction. Kind of the same thing like the NKU women's team didn't make the tournament, but they're improving. So, of course, seeing Jamil Elliott, she's done a great job as a coach, and they got some good young, talented women's players.
Right. I mean, if you're not going to have a great season, which, it's tough to do in women's basketball, there is not the parity that there is in men's basketball. You want to have improvement, and the UC women showed improvement. They played hard. The record may not be what they wanted, but they've got a good foundation to build on. We'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, the big thing, for next season they need to really work on is just not having those blowout games. I mean, they're going to lose. Losing's fine. It happens. But there are some of the games that just were, the ugly loss that just makes it kind of tough.
Right, and those can be demoralizing, and it makes it hard to have fun sometimes. I mean, if you get blown out, and then you're sitting in the locker room afterwards, you're like, what the heck? What do we do wrong? Sometimes it's tough to shake that off. So, yeah, I'd like to see them keep a lot of the games closer. And just see what happens, I know
what you mean. Yeah, they had that Ohio State game where they lost by double, and I know, Ohio State's Big Ten and all, but that's still just, that's going to eat at you a little bit there. Let's see, going through, looking at the other one. Now, don't get me wrong, UC did have several against smaller schools where they won by a substantial amount as well. I mean, 81-53 against Chicago State, 92-54 against Clarion, which I thought was a beauty product. I did not know that was a college. So learn new things. That's always fun.
Yeah.
That's the important part. Yeah. And there's some of them like, really? That's university? Apparently so.
Yep.
But yeah, so the UC program's improving and going in the right direction. And then of course, to everybody's favorite, football. Practice is starting. I'm looking forward to Friday. I'm going to go down, check it out, see what the team's looking like.
Sweet, yeah, that's it's gotta love football season, and I know it's spring practice and all, but man, they're putting on some pads. They're gonna be hitting each other. It's there's nothing quite like the sound of pads popping, so it'll be good, and we've talked about it in the past. I love what Luke Fickle's doing. So, and I guess the other news from the football program was Gino Guidoli's back, left Central Michigan to come back and be the running backs coach here in town, and I think it's a good place for him. He's a legend here, and he'll do well. He'll be a great addition to the staff.
Exactly. I mean, it might not be the position he played in college, but he knows all the things that are required to be a good running back. I mean, working hand in hand with the running backs over the years, so I think he'll do an excellent job there. I agree with you. And that's one of those things where they can, he can be mentored by the offensive coordinator, and eventually he can end up becoming our next offensive coordinator, 4 or 5 years down the road when our current offensive coordinator ends up going over, and maybe he'll be the head coach at, a MAC school or Conference USA school, something like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, at the heart of it, coaching's a business, and you got to get experience somehow. And he, Gino, I believe, I forget his role at Central Michigan, but, he's coming to a bigger school, and he's going to be coaching, and he's going to have a chance to move up the ladder here. And, eventually, I mean, every coach's goal is to be a head coach somewhere. So, eventually it could happen for him. So I think it's a good addition, and I think it's a great situation for him.
I agree 100%. Should be huge for him. Should be a good opportunity for him and the university. Just keep moving in the right direction. And then good news with the football and all. I believe the spring ball this year instead of Saturday, because for the most part last year everybody seemed to be on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's actually on a Friday night this year.
Yeah, I think it's under the lights.
Yeah, that'll be really great.
That'll be fun. Get Nippert all lit up. Get people there. Maybe there'll be some more students at it than usual. I think it's a good situation. I think anything that gets more eyes on the program is a good move. And, put it on Friday night. Sometimes there's not a lot to do. Maybe some families will come out, because, maybe there's not two baseball or soccer games that night. So I
know what you mean, yeah. I was going to say, and I'm biased. I'm off on Fridays. That's the only reason why I think it's just a great evidence on a Friday. So, yeah. And like you said, I mean, shoot, if you do it on Saturday, you're competing with the kids' soccer games. You're competing with their low league and all that kind of stuff. Not many teams play the Friday night. They're more playing on the Saturdays, for their kids and all. So, yeah, it makes more sense to do it on a Friday night, have the whole thing to yourself. I agree with you.
Yep.
And then before we go, and we'll touch on baseball, which I've heard they have a baseball team there at UC. Let's see if they do. And just like Northern, no, we do not. We're 5-6, so, not awful, not good.
Right.
Not awful. I was going to say we're Reds fans, so we can't really make fun of UC's record too much if you like the Reds. Because it's same, maybe even a little bit better than the Reds. But on the bright side, the most important part, in 10 innings today, they beat Kentucky. So,
outstanding.
Yeah, 2-1 at Marge-Schott Stadium. Another important thing to mention, Marge-Schott Stadium's really nice. I mean, if you haven't had an opportunity to check out a game there, it is totally worth it. And I think tickets are like $5 or something. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's cheap.
If you think you can make a couple games this year, $30, I think, for the entire season. I know it's something ridiculous like that. So, I mean, it's definitely what we're doing. The crazy part, you're going to spend more in parking because of being downtown Cincinnati than you are on the tickets. Yeah, because parking is $5-10 a pop, where tickets, not so bad. But, then we got Knoxville, Tennessee, so UC's going to go away for a little bit. Then they got Wright State, which Northern loves to play. And then they're coming home for a nice stretch of games with Miami of Ohio, Northeastern, and Louisville. And I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that'll be on a Tuesday. So we got some good stuff coming up with UC. Obviously, this tournament's, the biggest thing going. It's going to be huge if they can win the tournament, maybe get a nice 3 or 4 seed. If they lose the tournament, maybe a 5, maybe a 4 still, who knows. So, that'll be huge this Sunday night when we get to find out what's going on. So we might even do the show earlier. No, actually got Andre Riddick next Tuesday.
Excellent.
Okay, that'll be nice. It'll be fun getting to catch up with him, see what he's been up to, and just get his thoughts on the tournament pairings.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, for James Ernest and Mark Fightmaster, Mark, any final thoughts?
Nah, just go Cats. Play well this weekend.
Exactly. For UC Bearcats on the Prowl, James Ernest and Mark Fightmaster signing off.